Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this evening. I'm Elizabeth Robidoux. I'm the Planning Director for the Town of Derry. As we start every meeting, if everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Wow. There's a lot of people here tonight. Thank you. Honestly, I said to Bev, I'm like, I was expecting like 5 or 6 people. so this is really good. Thank you, especially on such a cold winter night. Even there's no snow, which is good. But thank you for coming out and joining us this evening. I would like to introduce members of our Gateway Committee who are here. Brian Fishman, Dan Healy, Beverly Donovan, our Planning Board member, John O'Connor. I saw members of the Town Council here. Thank you for attending, and from some of the other boards and committees. The reason we're here tonight, and I should probably follow the agenda just a little bit. I tend to squirrel, and people are going to try and keep me on track. Housekeeping. Convenience facilities are on either side of this stairway. If you could, mute your phones, and if for some reason there is an emergency in the building and you need assistance, please wait at the top of the stairway for someone to help you. Don't use the elevators, everybody else. Exits are to the back, and we have exits on this side as well. So why are we here? We're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a little bit of zoning and planning 101, just to kind of give you a background on, how and why we come to some of the decisions that we do when it comes to planning. We're going to talk about how we impact future design, and we really want your input. That's why you're here. We can't, we'll say this later, we can't do planning in a vacuum. This is your community. And what you have to say and your thoughts are really important, and we need to capture that. So, the reason we're all here today, Exit 4A. For those of you, I remember back when I was graduating from high school, they were talking about this new exit we were going to get. And it has been a concept dream discussion topic since 1984. It's finally a reality. If you've driven through the area, you've seen the construction that's happening now. And it's been a goal of the town to look at this area because we know it's going to be impacted by the changes of the exit. And we want to make sure that we are encouraging redevelopment and infill in this area that's appropriate. So our 2020 master plan sets this area as has it set aside as one of its target goals to kind of look at it, encourage infill, which is taking like maybe an underutilized property, redeveloping it into something that's a little bit more valuable for the community and for the tax rolls and for the people who own it. Creating mixed-use zones, promoting good commercial design, and also it's a town council goal. Town council asked us about a year ago to take a look at this area, see what we could do to encourage economic development. So as part of that, as the planning board is looking at areas to maybe potentially rezone or redesignate, you need to take a look at the characteristics of the area. You also need to take into consideration what the master plan says the area should look like, because as a group, back in 2018, 2019, you all said this is what we want here. So we need to take those thoughts and concerns and ideas into consideration. So what we did was we took a look at the broader area of the gateway. You can see back in the corner over by Owen, there is a, you can see the gateway district is the area that's in color. We broke it into 3 kind of distinct areas because each of those different colored areas have different characteristics. We wanted to make sure that as we were discussing potential zoning changes, we're capturing the characteristics and the unique qualities of each of those districts. So the area we're talking about today is the yellow area, Area 3. So this area, not like, Ashley Drive's a little different. This area has single-family residential, some home occupation, so you've got maybe some small business use attached to the residential home. We have a gas station and a convenience store. There's small auto sales. Things that you might be able to do in this area would be maybe a future potential for mixed use, similar to what Brad Carson has on his property, or a small office. All right, I keep calling this, here's your obligatory ivory tower statement. I wouldn't be a planner if I didn't get to throw in some planning statements. So the APA says that planning is the elected leader's most effective tool for managing growth, navigating change, and making tough decisions facing communities, like where to invest in transportation, housing, and parks. The planning process helps communities define their goals and a path to achieving them. A plan is a roadmap that helps leaders make informed decisions about what residents in the local economy needs to thrive. So zoning change should always include public input. It's illegal if you don't. But the better reason is that this is your community, and your ideas and your vision are really important, and they have an impact. I think that's probably one of the things that I really like most about planning is you get to listen to what people want, figure out how it fits into that particular area, and find a way to make it work. And it's kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of a geek that way, but I like doing that. So, I think I skipped over something. So here's our little Planning 101. So what is zoning? What is what we are going to do? For those who aren't familiar, zoning is a way to kind of divide a town into distinct districts that share certain characteristics. So in Derry, we have our residential areas that are divided into several sub-districts. We have our commercial districts also divided into sub-districts, and then our industrial areas. So it all started way, 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 way back. Euclidean zoning, for those who are really geeky like me. What happened was you would have in your village, your community, you had a whole bunch of mix of uses. So you'd have people living in cottages, you have the baker, you get the blacksmith, you have the tanner. Nobody wanted to live near the tanner because it was gross. It smelled, it was smoky, there was like decaying things. It was just really gross. No one wanted to live next to it. But the tanner provided a really important piece of the local economy and fulfilled needs in the community. But people are like, we need it, but we don't want it next to us. So let's put it over here. So any kind of tanning thing like that goes over there. So maybe we'll put all like bakeries and, the fur people, we'll put them here. And the blacksmith can go over here because he's kind of noisy. We don't want him next to the church. And so we'll put the church here, and then we have our community, whatever. And so that was the segregation of, or the beginning of the segregation of uses. So, and zoning kind of evolved from there, and we kind of followed that same path where we'd keep like uses together and we try and separate them so that they didn't infringe on the wants, needs, and comforts of the next group beside them that was a little different. So in order to do that, you have to put some rules into place that kind of keep the characteristics of each of those districts separate. So that's zoning. What zoning doesn't do when we create our list of permitted uses, if we say you can have retail in this district because we allow retail, it doesn't necessarily mean that XYZ retail is going to come here into that spot. Those types of things. So like if we zone, we always hear we need Whole Foods, we need Trader Joe's. We can zone an area for retail and allow a grocery store like that. But without and Bev can speak to this way better than I can, without the right demographics, the right traffic flow, the right number of people in a given geographic area, they're not going to come. So what we try to do is set up the area so that uses like that we really want can come. This is why we have zoning. I really actually, I love the picture on the right, because if you look at it, it's kind of like, you got like a little park, you have a common area there, there's a little greenhouse tucked away over in the corner. Everything you could maybe possibly want is like right there. But it may not be the safest configuration, which is one of the other reasons we put zoning into place. The one on the left is kind of, that's your mixed-use facility with retail, low-rent housing, luxury apartments, and, oh yeah, you got a steel-making facility right there too. So this is non-Euclidean zoning. The one on the left, that's from Texas. Texas is famous for not having a whole lot of zoning controls. That is a crematorium in front of multifamily. And then the one on the right is, I forget where in Massachusetts we grabbed that. So those are those oil containers? What's stored in that? It's green, yeah, but we actually took this picture from Google Maps in Massachusetts. So it's, you've got, stuff right on top of each other. This might be more appropriate. If you're storing your grain next to your fields, next to your house, then that might be okay. So the difference between the planning board and the zoning board. The planning board is the board that drafts the changes to the zoning ordinance. And it will recommend, the planning board drafts the changes, goes through a public hearing process, and then if the planning board agrees that those changes are appropriate for certain areas or changes to the map need to be made, we bring those to town council, and town council in Derry approves the changes. In other communities who still have, we have town meeting, but there's other communities that have town meeting where these types of changes are approved by the voters only once a year at town meeting. So in Derry, you have 2 public hearings where you can come and speak. So as we craft the zoning for these new areas or this new area, it's really important, if you're interested, to pay attention, come to the planning board public hearings. Say what you want to say. Have your input. Your input's going to be heard tonight to help us craft the zoning, but it's important for you to be at the meeting and say, that's a really dumb idea because, or did you think about this? Because we can't, we may not think of a certain use that would be really applicable or good in that area. And, many brains come up with better ideas. But, if you feel like you're not heard, or if you think of an idea afterwards, once it gets to the town council, you also have input there. So planning board also, not only does it write the zoning ordinance, it also writes the subdivision and site plan regulations, but we're not talking about that tonight. It's also responsible for the development of the master plan. And by state RSA, that is the #1 charge of the planning board, is to formulate and follow through with the master plan. The zoning board is your relief valve. So if you don't, if there's something in particular on your property that doesn't work because of the rules that we've put into place, and you need relief from that, you go to the zoning board. For example, if you have, you need to put up a shed or you need to put up an addition, you might have like ledge on one side or your wells on this side of the property. So your addition has to be over here, but it doesn't quite meet the setback. You can go to the zoning board and say, hey, my property is unique. It's not like the guy next door. My well's here, I got ledge, I got this, I got that. It has to go here. And the zoning board can look at 5 specific criteria and say, you know what, you have a point. You meet this, 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 and this. You meet all 5 points, we're gonna grant the relief. But you have to meet the 5 criteria in order for the relief to be granted. State law says, just because I like you, you're my neighbor, and you know, I think it's a good idea, that's not a reason to grant a variance. You have to meet the criteria. So the master plan, that is basically our to-do list for 20 years. It is crafted out of sessions much like this, where the citizens all get together and they say, you know, for our recreation needs, we'd like to see this. Transportation needs, we'd like to see this. Cultural, we want to see this. We don't like the air, we don't ever want to see you know, this type of use out in this part of town ever for these reasons. So you take all of that into consideration when we start working on our future land use maps, our future use maps. And you craft a vision for the community for the next 20 years. And the last one that we did, it's like a 3-volume set. I don't know what else to call it. And that is the document that we use to decide how the town's moving forward. So, and as I had said earlier, one of the things that we had put in the, that came out of the last master plan was a goal to look at this gateway district and see how we could look at zoning and rezoning to make this a marketable area for Derry and to allow for future commercial and economic growth there. How'd we get here? As I said, back in 1984, someone dreamed up exit 4A. Actually, we were owed an exit, so I just want to put that out there. We were supposed to have exit 3A way back when, and that didn't happen because where it was supposed to go, that land got taken by the state for mitigation purposes. That was down like along Windham Road. So Derry, you know, was probably one of the only communities along this stretch of 93 that was being expanded that didn't have an exit coming to it. Exits give you really cool opportunities for growth. It's good access for businesses, it's good access for the residents, and we didn't have one. So everybody who's coming into Derry is getting off at exit 4, and they're going up 102, heading off to, you know, Raymond, Chester, Auburn, sometimes Salem, cutting through that way to go. And so we needed kind of a relief valve to get some of the traffic off of our downtown. And so exit 4A was one of the ways that that could happen. So an environmental, well, an EIS statement was prepared. In 2005, the draft was approved. It's a really long federal process to get an EIS reviewed and approved. They're checking a lot of environmental things, endangered species, things like that. In 2015, the governor accelerated the process. He added exit 4A into the state's 10-year highway plan, and which essentially guaranteed funding for the project on the state level. We were also able to obtain federal funding. In 2020, the final EIS was accepted, and then the alternatives were decided. When they were looking at exit 4A, there were a couple of different alternatives on where the exit would go. They finally settled on, one of them was kind of going through A and B Street and over that way to get back out to the bypass. It was a very different way to go. After a lot of public hearings and input, alternative B was decided on, and so the design that you see today is the one that was selected. In 2004, the town created the Ash Street TIF district to foster and support economic development in the neighborhood. For those who are not familiar, a TIF district, a tax increment financing district, is set up in an area, and what you do is, I'm not a numbers gal, so this is how I describe it to myself. So right now our tax is $100,000 for 20 properties. I'm making it very simple. Today, we set up the TIF district, and next year it's worth $120,000. So we're going to take the $20,000 extra, and we're going to put that in the TIF account. In that $20,000, we're still getting the $100,000 coming into our general fund to support everything else that we do in town. But that $20,000 is set aside in a special account that's used for infrastructure projects to support that area of town and to support the growth in that area of town. So if we need repairs on bridges, or we need a new culvert, or the drainage isn't working right, and we need all of that fixed to support economic development there, then we use that money. So it's a way of segregating out some of the revenue so that it just goes directly to those projects in that one area. Anyone on the TIF committee, if I got that wrong, correct me now. Okay. So 2020, the Ash Street TIF area was expanded to include portions of Exit 4A in that corridor. Originally, the Ash Street TIF district was really Ash Street in that area. We expanded it into a much broader area. And then the 2020 master plan was approved and also included the goals, as I went on ad nauseum before, about this district. So 2022, contract A started for Exit 4. So that was when they started the work on the highway to create the bridge and to start cut through Londonderry towards Derry. So right now, it's ending at Madden Road. And then this year, the Gateway Committee was established, and we were tasked with obtaining community input, that's you, for the area vision, and to suggest zoning changes so we can maximize our opportunities in this district. So in this picture, where the star is on there, you can see where we're coming off the highway into Derry. The smaller picture below shows the different phases. The area that's under the maroon, that's contract A. So that comes from the highway, that's the Old Rum Trail going through Londonderry, heading into Derry. And it ends right around the Londonderry-Derry town line. Contract B, which is the area we'll be discussing tonight, is the Folsom Road area. It goes from the town line, Shields Brook, all the way up to the intersection at Shanita Road, Crystal, Manchester Road. Contract C will go from Shanita Road, it's the rest of Shanita Road, all the way out to 102. So here's a map of the entire project. On this, so this area has already, they're starting to construct here. There's going to be a stoplight. They're going to reconfigure north where it comes in near American Excavating. There's going to be a bridge in that area, and it's going to be a four-way intersection at North High in Folsom. And then as you come, and there'll be a light there. As you come down, there'll be another light at Franklin. There is also going to be another light under discussion at Laconia so that we can maintain access to our police department. I also pointed out this right now is the current configuration for the rail trail as approved. So as I said, contract A is ending at the town line, and contract B is the Folsom Road area under discussion. Well, the south side is under discussion this evening. So change is inevitable. This is Pinkerton back in the early 1900s. This is Pinkerton as it stands today. Um, the important thing about change is that how we look at it affects the outcome. You know, what we envision will affect the outcome. So what we craft today is going to have an effect 10, 15, 20 years from now. And I'd like you to think about that as you're thinking about your ideas and sharing those with us. And this is really where we need your input. So as we look ahead at this area, there are opportunities for development and redevelopment. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Bev. She's our Economic Development Director. She can kind of fill in. This is more her area of expertise than mine. But there are, you know, we do have opportunities here in all of these areas, and we want to make sure we're maximizing that for the people who own the property, for the people who will maybe own the properties in the future, and for our future residents.
All right. Thank you, Liz. Does anybody, before she sits down, anybody have any questions up till now?
My understanding is 7. To at least to Schneider Road, and then I think it goes to 4. They haven't, I don't know, have they finished that design piece? I'm ashamed to say that I haven't been paying much attention to the Schneider Road piece of it yet. Mm-hmm. Not Schneider, no. So Folsom Road. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in all of, and I will say that the majority, the state has already worked with the property owners along Folsom, and the majority of the acquisitions have been finalized. So the land that is going to be taken has already been, it's already been negotiated with those landowners, and so along that stretch, there's a couple of landowners that they're still finalizing with right now, but it has already, and you've seen, I'm sure everyone's seen some of the survey stakes and things that are out there, and they've seen the markings. And this is the piece of the contract that's under construction right now. Actually, I want to say, oops, went the wrong way. You got a preview. So, it's hard to see on this. I don't think I can't blow this up because it's a static piece, but this building was taken. This was taken. It's hard to see, but there's some hatched marks in here. I want to say most of the buildings have come down already. Brian, do you have more information than that? Yeah, all right, so in case you didn't hear Brian, most of the properties on the left-hand, or so the northern side of the road, so, you know, police station side, have already been acquired and taken, and most of them are down, the ones that are coming down. There's a few left. Mm-hmm. That one stays. That stays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one that abuts back to the Franklin Apartments. That garage remains. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, and did that answer your question? Okay. Hmm? Okay, yeah. Right, so all of those maps, we have some on file in the planning office. Tonight, we're not going to be looking at the maps themselves because they are available on the DOT's website. What we're really looking for tonight, I think, is more of a general overview. Understand, we're talking about all the properties tonight. We're talking about the properties on the south side, those properties all in yellow that are not, do not have as dramatic an impact on them as the properties on the north side. All the takings are on the north side of the property. There's very little taking on the south side, which is the area we're focusing on now. It is going to, yes. So it's going to be wide coming down towards the police station. You'll have those 3 lights when you get to the lights at Shenito and Crystal and Manchester. That intersection there, it will widen out. I want to say it's going to be 4 lanes, so 2 on either side. The width of Shenito up to Irving, and then I think it's also going to be widened going the other way. But as I said, I haven't been honest, to be brutally honest, I haven't been paying attention to what's happening Shenito Road from Irving Station out to 102. My focus has been more in this area for the moment. But there are, all those design plans are available on that link that we gave you for the exit 4. Okay. Okay. There is, yeah. The state is, yes. Yeah. No, I know. They're right now, they are working on the drainage. They're taking all of that into account they've done the design portion of it. They're finishing that now. They're adding in the utilities. So we have working plans in the office if you want to come in sometime, and I'm happy to sit down and show you what those look like. I don't have access to them right now to put them up on the screen. And I think we know that this is going to be a dramatic change, and this is why we want to get everybody in the room. I'm not an engineer. I'm not qualified to discuss, the nitty-gritty of how the road design is going to go. And our focus tonight is really like what you guys want to see for uses and zoning there. And I understand the concerns about the impacts on the wetlands and all of that, but the state is held to an extremely high level of they're held to an extremely high level when it comes to drainage and those types of things, and they have to handle that water, and they have to handle it effectively. So it's not in the in our roadways as it affects properties they've obtained, or they are in the process of obtaining drainage easements for the affected properties where the drainage will go. Does it? If the Derry News, I'm sure we can make what we have available to the newspaper. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And as Bev said, like, they're not, the final engineering is not complete. They're still working on the utility portion, like, as we speak. So as they're constructing, they're finishing up the design. So it's a very fast moving project. So as soon as they're designing it, they're building it. Like, we're in the design build stage of the process. It is part of, Shieldsbrook, Beaverbrook, yep. It does. I want to say it's a class 4 stream. We didn't say that. No. We have, what I said was, there's an existing gas station up at the right at the corner of Shenito. No, and that's part of what we want. We want to hear that. Don't put a gas station there. Like, that's what we want to hear. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. That. Okay. Repeat that later, please. Okay. All right. And did you have something in the back, sir? Sorry. For the state-owned portions, the state's responsible. For the town, it's the town. Yeah. So Shanita Road is ours. I believe, isn't that ours? Yeah, yeah. Whichever entity is responsible for that will be responsible for the maintenance. So my understanding, we're getting a little off track. So my understanding is that Shanita Road is a town road, so we would be responsible for that. It's part of the, and parts of these roads are in the urban compact, so even though it's state, we're responsible for it. So, and it depends on where it is. I know. I know. Richard and Tom. Be kind, Richard. It is an input session. Mm-hmm. It is on both sides of Folsom Road. Mm-hmm. Tonight, tonight we really want to hear what the residents who live there have to say for this particular part, for all of the 3 areas. We want to hear what the people who own the property have to say. The town doesn't have any ideas, just for ideas. We have starting from the current zoning. Yeah. What's the current zoning? So I have that up on the walls. We're getting a little off track. So yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Now you've really got me squirreled, and now I'm all over the place. Yes. That I don't know. I don't know. It's got traffic lights. It's got to be like 30. It has to be at 30. Yeah. That probably, so construction at the corner of Folsom and Crystal Ave there'll be some construction later this year. So late 2025. Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Towards the end of the year. Yeah, okay. I'm going to come right back to you, but I know that Mr. Carden had a question. Tom? Oh, thank you. That's a very good question. I should have addressed that right up front. I appreciate that. Our intent is to have these visioning sessions. So we've got this one tonight. We have 2 in February. We're going to bring all of the ideas and concerns and comments together for a larger visioning session in probably April of this year. And then once we have, and what we'll do during that session is likely kind of prioritize what people have said, and then the Gateway Committee will will work with all of that and start to craft the language or any potential changes, and then that will be brought to the planning board in a workshop. So I would anticipate that no actual changes would be made or public hearings would start until probably late June, beginning of July. It absolutely does. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping by August of this year that we have the rezoning completed. We have any rezoning done, finalized. Yeah. Yeah, I have reached out to Londonderry. I have reached, right now they don't have a planner. So I have reached out to their acting town manager. They are aware of these visioning sessions because we want to make sure that, and as I expressed to the town of Londonderry, I want to make sure that what we do, we all have different priorities in our towns, but we should at least try and make sure we have similar compatible uses at the town line. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Okay. And I was over here. Yes. Yeah. I have not heard that any bus routes would be changing. I can't answer that. I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry. I can write it down, find out, and get back to you. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me write that down so that I can. Because I don't know, and we can find out. Okay. And, sir. Mm-hmm. So if I understood your question, you're aware that the state is acquiring properties on Laconia? Okay, or portions of property or easements on Laconia, and you're wondering how that will affect your property. So if the state is not acquiring if they're acquiring a piece of your property, they should have already reached out to you, or they will be reaching out to you. If not, your property will stay the same. If they're going to be doing any kind of work on your property, they would need to acquire a construction easement or something, so they would be in touch about that. Okay, all right. And then I'm going to go to Bev. Do you have more, Janice? Yeah. Okay, so of the yellowed. Okay, so Janice asked if any of the properties in Area 3 had been acquired by the state as part of the exit for a construction process, and to the best of my knowledge, no. Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, good question. I probably should have covered that in Zoning 101. So for those who couldn't hear, so for people who are listening online, Janice has redirected us back to the focus, which is the change, discussing potential changes for the yellow area today. Janice lives in a home in that district and intends to remain there. So is kind of hoping we don't change anything, if I heard what you said, and is wondering, if there are suggestions for types of changes and things that could happen there. And I'm not saying this is happening, I'm just making this up on the fly, okay? So if we decided, after all the input sessions, if the planning board and town council said it would be really good, and I can tell you right now, it wouldn't be good and it wouldn't be suggested, that's why I'm using it as an example, to make that all industrial, that whole yellow area industrial. What would happen is it would change to an industrial zone, but you would, any new use coming in would have to comply with industrial. The existing use remains as what we call a pre-existing non-conforming use. So you're allowed to use the property as you always have without any changes. You're still taxed at you're taxed based on the use of the property. And then it's just when the property transfers out to a different use that they need to comply with the new zoning, if that makes sense. I'm sorry? Okay, so say the setbacks were amended. Right now, most properties that are residential, most properties are 35 to the front, a setback, like no buildings can be within 35 feet of the front property line or 15 feet of the side or the rear. So say we changed that to say now the new front setback is 50 feet and your side and rear setbacks are 25 and you want to put on an addition. Back when it was 15 feet, wouldn't have been a problem because you had enough room. But now we're back to my example that I used at the beginning of the night where we said, oh, I don't have enough room, now I'm going to hit the setback at 25 feet, now I need a variance. So if you didn't change anything, life is as you know it, you keep going on. But if you want to put on an addition and now you've got a setback of 25 feet where it used to be 15 and you're going to be trying to build in that additional 10 foot that was imposed, now you need a variance and you have to go to the ZBA and say, can I have the addition in that 25 foot setback, if that makes sense. Did that answer your question? No, you're looking at me like no. I know, yeah. No, there isn't, no. Yeah. So use changes. So if now, it's right now the uses are residential, that's what's allowed there because it's medium high density residential. If someone purchased a property and it was zoned industrial and they wanted to, and it was vacant right now, we don't have any there, but if it were vacant, and they wanted to put up a residence, they'd need a variance for that because that's not allowed in the industrial zone. That might be a better answer. Well, no, as long as the residential use continues, that continues. And yeah, so the use continues until it lapses for 12 months, and then it needs to comply. And we're going to go back to what are our opportunities, because we do want to hear from you. We've got 40 minutes left, and it's really important to hear what you have to say as far as what you want to see for uses. But I think it's important that you have an idea of what could come or what could be done. And so I'm going to turn it over to Bev.
Thank you. All right. I think a lot of you asked great questions, and a lot of this has already been covered. So I'm just going to kind of go quickly over it. So when you're looking at those maps over there in that yellow section where many of you live or have small businesses, the opportunities are not as big as they are across the street or up toward Manchester Road because of the type of development that's already there. We're not looking to mow down houses. We really like the character of that neighborhood the way it is. But we also recognize that with a large highway coming through, maybe not everybody is going to want to stay. And some people might want to add in a small business. You could, I think there's already a couple down there, an electrolysis studio, that type of thing, a dietitian, those kind of uses. So those are the things that we'd be looking for. If you decide you don't want a lot of changes, those are the kind of things we'll be looking at. We aren't looking to put in another gas station or a big industrial building. So that covers property owner consideration, community desires and visions. Market opportunities is another thing that comes into play. If you'll excuse me, I've been sick for a week, so I'm very hoarse. Liz had brought it up before. We get calls and we get emails and texts and comments on social media. Why don't we have a Trader Joe's? Why do we have so many banks? We don't need another fast food. Well, I do want to say that with zoning, we only put out there the uses in a general sense. We don't control who comes in for a use. So, for example, retail could be a bank. It could be a convenience store. It could be many things. We can't say no if somebody comes in under the use that's allowed. So, let's say a nail salon is permitted in that zone. We can't say no to that because there's 3 other ones that are already there. So I just want to make sure that's out there because I think that's confusing. Looking at what is there today, the scale, the size, the land mass, I think when you look at each lot size individually in that neighborhood, you can pretty quickly realize that it would take an awful lot for someone to come in and make offers that get accepted to buy up those properties, put them together and make something really big. So I don't think we're I don't think we're worried about that. Sorry. Say again? I'm just talking about the yellow, yeah. Again, it would take, first of all, we want to hear what the uses are. If you're saying we don't want gas stations or you don't want, I don't know, large-scale restaurant or a bowling alley, those are the things we want to hear. The reality of the situation is it takes an awful lot to aggregate properties because everybody would have to agree to sell at the same time. And it just, I don't see that that's going to happen here. It would take an awful long time. Yeah. The chances of that are very low. But that said, we do want to know what people might want to do. Because if you're living right along that new exit ramp, you may not want to stay in your house if you've got cars screaming by you. And maybe you would be interested in selling, retiring, moving away, you know. The other part of that is we've lost, I think, 21 businesses in total with this whole Exit 4A coming through. That's a significant impact to the tax rate. And so one of the things that we're looking at for the master plan is how can we gain back what we lost in those commercial revenues? And we're looking at all the opportunities. It may be that there's very little opportunity in that zone, but we don't know that until we hear from everybody. Does anybody have any questions? Yep. So the question was about taking congestion out of the downtown and the worry that we're just moving it to somewhere else. And I do understand that question because I've thought about that a lot as well. Downtown is only one lane in each direction. It's very tight, and there are crosswalks, and it's very dense, densely populated. Right. So by the state moving that traffic, mainly for through traffic, for the most part, people commuting, even from out of town to the other side of town, as Liz mentioned, that's a much wider roadway and a much straighter roadway with not as many places to stop or crosswalks or things like that in the way. So the lights will be synchronized. It'll be a very fast-moving, modern system, and there's not going to be a lot of housing there. So I don't think the density that you might be thinking of, like in a downtown, would be removed over to that area. Yeah. So he's talking about commuting, roads that people use for commuting a lot faster, not as many on and off points, and that commuter roads could be a death sentence. And to some degree, I agree with you, because I can tell you one of the first things somebody asks me when they call is, what is the traffic count? Most businesses want to be where there is a lot of traffic. Which is going back to the whole Trader Joe's question all over again. Why doesn't Trader Joe's come to Derry? Well, we don't have the demographics, we don't have the traffic, and that sort of thing. So to that point, it's not a bypass road like you would see on 111. It is going to be a busier road because there's already things that exist there. I'm sorry, I missed the. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. No, just a couple. Yeah. 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 And a lot of that's in Londonderry. So they're as part of the Woodmont project. Go ahead. We don't really have control over what Londonderry does, but we are working with them, and we do talk with them. I think the latest thing that I saw is they were looking at some medical uses and a potential YMCA place there, not big industrial that I've seen.
Open that for you. You're welcome. Okay. So over on the wall, right now, this area has medium high density residential 2, which is single family only. And it also has, I'm gonna go look over here, general commercial, which is, so medium high density residential 2 is that bright yellow, and then commercial is the tip over there. Commercial allows a really broad spectrum of uses. It's probably our broadest spectrum of uses. So you have anything from, I'm going to cheat, the gas station. So we allow anything from aeroponics, banks, automobile repair, gas stations, daycares, hotels, inns, light industry, light manufacturing, medical office, professional office, retail sales, restaurants, R&D facilities, radio broadcasting, I mean, there's a whole slew of uses that can occur in the general commercial district, but MHDR, honestly, MHDR2, you have single family and an ADU. That's it. Okay. I'm going to get to what I want to say is when we first started this whole journey and the Gateway Committee got together, we talked about the history of how the planning board got here in 2017-ish, 18. The planning board looked at this area. Was it 2020 that we looked at it? And we went out, we did a site walk. We walked up Madden Road. We walked to the police station. We walked all of these we walked the neighborhood here. And the conclusion was that this neighborhood was too important as it exists to touch. And we focused all of our attention on the north side, and that's when we came up with the aquaponics, aeroponics, all of that stuff in the industrial side. And so when this group got together, my peers got treated to me going on you can't touch this neighborhood. This is like one of the last remaining actual neighborhoods in town. What are we, crazy? We can't do anything with this. These are single family homes. These are homes that people can retire in. These are homes that people can start their families in. And they're in a neighborhood that's walkable. And if we change things over here, they'll be able to walk to things. They can get to things. This is a true neighborhood. Don't touch it. And I'm like, okay, but we're going to let the public speak. So I want to let you know, I understand that. And I was extremely passionate to the point of ridiculousness about this neighborhood. It was that important to me that we maintain the character. And if we allow integrated businesses use in it, we talked about it, back when Jim and John and Richard and some others were on that walk in the planning board. We talked about how it would be really, really important through architectural design regulations to make sure that the existing structures remain looking residential so we don't lose the character. Part of what makes Derry Derry is its character. We've worked long and hard. George Sears worked for 40 years here, making sure that we maintained character in this town as we grew. And there's something really special and unique about Derry that no other community has. And we need to keep that going, but we also need to allow for growth, because without growth, we're going to stagnate and we're going to be left here. And we can't evolve and grow as a community and fulfill the needs of our communities without some form of growth. So growth has to be done judiciously, it has to be done responsibly, but it also needs to be done with the heart of the community, so that's why we're here. So what I'd like to say is we want to hear from you. I'm not going to go into how we write an ordinance and all that other stuff. We want to hear from you and what you have to say about, what do you want here? What do you want here? We know you don't want a gas station. So we're going to start. What I'd like to have you do is, you guys here, if you don't mind. Yeah, all right. Yeah, no gas stations. No gas stations. Okay. So, yeah. Yes, please. Sidewalks are alike. Sidewalks are alike. Okay. So what other likes? What do we like about where we live right now? The big tree. Yeah, okay. I like that tree too. I love that tree. Okay. Mindy's tree. All right, yeah. Okay. What else? There has to be more. I could not have been this passionate, and you guys live there. Come on. What else do you like about it? Yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what do you like about where you live? Okay. All right. And it's a neighborhood. All right. They want to keep the neighborhood. Sense of community, right? The community of the neighborhood. Yep. 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 So there's still green space and environmental features that we like. Yep. I thought I saw a hand over here. Anybody? Okay. Yeah. It does. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. So we need the green space. Okay. All right. So right now we're focusing on what do you like about where you live? Is there anything you absolutely dislike about your neighborhood? Okay, 7-lane highway. Yep. Okay. All right. So we dislike the cut throughs. Okay. I know. Yeah. All right. Dislike the cut throughs. Any other extreme dislikes? Okay. All right. Um, okay. All right. So dislike light pollution. Hmm. No, you're not the tannery. No, no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So what I'm hearing you say is you don't like the an excessive mix of uses in one area. Okay. 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 All right. Um, yes. And then I'm going to come here. Yep. Okay. I think that's on a. Okay. Okay. So a bigger variety of businesses would be a want, which I think is like the next question, but we'll get there. Yep. I'm going to go here, here, and then here. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Okay. 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 Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yep. Come to, yep. Yes. 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 I want to see you all at the next session. Yes. I hear you. I hear you. I do.
We're focusing on this area this evening. We have the right people in the room to get the wants and dislikes and understand what you value about this area the most. But the whole plan is being considered all as one. So, as Liz said, come to the next sessions. Continue, say what you want tonight about this. The fourth session, if you will, the broader plan, that will be everything all at once, looking at the whole plan, kind of taking distillation from each of these and talking about what the whole community has said. So absolutely, we're not just limited to this area.
This is sort of a question and a suggestion, perhaps. Does this plan include any kind of a buffer, such as a vegetative buffer with trees or shrubs between this large new roadway and the existing neighborhood?
That will come with the zoning. The planning board is a big proponent of making sure that when you have residential against business, that buffers are maintained and put into place to protect the existing uses and the existing residential uses. So absolutely, as we start getting deeper into like crafting actual language, we'll talk about buffers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, what? Yeah. I believe Bev said 21 businesses we've lost so far in the last year. Over the span of the. Yeah.
Chris McCarthy's here. Yours was the first building to go, I believe.
Yeah. Well, we don't have structures there now that we're collecting income on. Mm-hmm.
On the state-owned properties, the state doesn't, so most of those properties that were taken are state-owned, so yeah, no taxes on those, which is part of the reason why we're tasked with looking at this and trying to enhance the opportunities for commercial development where we can. And it may be, and we've had discussions similar, the one over there is what I'm thinking of, off of West Broadway. We worked with a neighborhood to look at some zoning changes a couple years ago and really ended up only doing a few small tweaks, like adding the ability to do in-home childcare, things like that, because it was a neighborhood very similar to this one. On the other side of the road, in the other two zones, where there's already industrial uses, there's probably a lot more opportunity for that. Manchester Road, think of like the old Hadco site, for example. The owners are holding off for exit 4A to come, and then they will be, they're almost finished with that cleanup, but they've got a plan. Yep. It's dwindling for sure, which is why we want to make sure we're allowing the best uses that the community wants in order to best use the properties we have left. And going back to this neighborhood in the yellow here, it may be that nothing changes at all in terms of uses, but it may be that you say, okay, we would allow for daycare uses, we would allow for a sandwich shop, a coffee shop, those kind of small neighborhood uses.
Yep. I know there was the gentleman in the back, and then Janice, and then over here.
Yeah. That would be the time. Yeah.
I think this is a good time to move on to. What do you think it's going to look like in 10 years? And like, if I could ask, I know it's hard because it all works together, but if you could just put a blinder on and focus on your homes, what do you think it will look like? Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think I'll be looking at a strip mall with Taco Bell and a Kentucky Fried Chicken and 2 more gas stations and a Chinese restaurant. That's what I'm going to be looking at.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. Okay. Yeah. Oh. So, greenhouses and town-owned solar infrastructure. I would love to have Greenleaf here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. All right. And what else specifically for the areas in yellow? What do you envision? I mean, when I look at it, I'm envisioning more of the things like Brad Carson has, there for that side of the road. But what do you all think? Okay. Or Brad Carson, sorry. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. 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 That plan, for those who are unaware, there is an approved medical office park on that was the old. There was a vacant piece of property before they took down all the houses, kind of a little bit diagonal from Laconia. Yeah, the field next to the police station. Thank you, Mindy. So they're approved for that. The planning board allowed them to extend their conditional approval out until all of the acquisitions were completed and the access questions were answered. So that that plan is still in play at the moment. They still hold the conditional approval for that. Whether the developer chooses to move forward with that or not in the future, I can't say, but that plan is still on the table. Okay. So keep it to single story. Okay. I'm going to Tom in the back, Steve, and then the lady in the corner. What you want it to look like in 10 years? Okay, what don't you want it to look like in 10 years? Okay, so no public buildings. No apartments or mixed-use apartments. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So is there anything else for this district? Okay. Okay. Keep it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Tom. Okay, Mr. Trefethan, I'm working my way across. Yep. Because can we keep it to this neighborhood tonight? Because that's the focus tonight, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, but we can address those at the next session. So what about for this neighborhood in particular? Yeah, I discussed that before. So residential would remain as is without changes. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, okay, so addition of an overlay zone so we can maintain the residential use in the district. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yep. Mhm. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So Mr. Trefethan was talking about conformity versus nonconformity with zoning for those who are joining us online and may not have been able to hear it, and stressing the need to keep maybe an overlay district so that the residential uses can remain without having to go to the zoning board for every little thing. So I'm going to come to the lady in the green in the back. Okay. So maintain your open recreation neighborhood and community space that you have, okay? And I know I need to come to the lady in the back, but I know Janice had her hand up, okay? And yes. That's not a discussion for tonight. I'm sorry, I can't answer that. I don't have an answer for you, okay? Yeah. Correct, yeah. Yeah, I understand. There will be a rail trail. What it looks like, I can't tell you at this point. Okay, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that discussion has occurred yet, but we can put that as a goal, as a want. Yeah. Right. Okay, so we want one-way streets. Okay. One-way streets or the neighborhood roads dead ending at Folsom. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. That's why we do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, the large sound retaining walls. Not that I've seen in the design that they have thus far. Yeah. Yeah. I have not. I haven't seen that in the design right now. Okay. All right. And let me come here. Yeah. Yes, we can. Yes, we can do so. Low impact business, like low impact. Okay. 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 So we'll. All right. So I hear you. I hear you. Okay. All right. So we'll look for low impact noise businesses. All right. Anybody else for the? Oh yes, for the 10-year plan. Yep. Am I- So the tip over there that hits Crystal Ave, where the gas station is, where USA Subs is located, and Starbucks, that's always been in our commercial zone. So, as I said before, that's our broadest use zone. You can do almost anything in that district. So that's how those uses were allowed there, and right, the brighter yellow is the residential piece. Yeah. I hear you. And so this is, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I do too. Sorry, I had dinner. Yeah. Yeah. So, right. So that's, as Janice said, that's where the importance of initiating buffers comes in. We can't go backwards. We can only go forward. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So, yes. And then we're going to keep going. Yeah. We can. We can. This is what we want to hear. We can absolutely keep it residential. We absolutely can. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I know we're running over. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, we can. And that's what we want to hear. Keep it residential. In 10 years, I want to see it as residential. Okay. All right. We have few more questions for you if you guys don't mind staying, we can get through some of them. And let's do rapid fire so we can get you out of here. So what do you think, and it's harder for this, we're using the same questions at all the visioning sessions because we want to make sure we're using the same thermometer. So it's harder for this, but if you think about it as the broad district, all of the blue, the green, and the yellow, What do you think would encourage new businesses? I know we had input from a resident before who said, make sure you have things like restaurants where workers can go grab lunch or grab dinner after work. Make sure there's daycare available so that people have their kids near them. So if, when they go to work, they're dropping them off on the way to work, that kind of thing. So what types of things do you think would encourage new business here in Derry, in this Gateway District? Yeah. A hotel? Mm-hmm. Yep. Tax benefits? Yep. Tax incentives? Mm-hmm. Yep. Tax incentives. What else? There was I heard some ideas over here, but they were kind of joking. No ideas. Silly. Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's. All right.
Bane of my existence.
Yes. Biomed manufacturing, absolutely. Yep. No. I'm asking you to look broader. Look broader. Yeah, look broader. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So small manufacturing, light manufacturing, small industrial. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So you said nursing. I heard nursing home. Nursing homes, and you said electric car dealer. Okay. Okay. I heard 55 plus. Mm-hmm. Did you have something? Okay. All right. Yeah.
How about some charging stations so that people could use the rail trail and charge their cars?
So, all right. So charging stations near the rail trail. Okay. Janice? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Understood. Okay. 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 All right. In the Gateway District. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we heard yes to electric car dealerships, no to electric car dealerships in our gateway. Yes. So more amenities. Okay. 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 Movie theater. Okay. Indoor pool. Okay. So indoor pool. Yeah. So recreational amenities. Okay. So hockey rink. Singing my song, hockey rink. A senior center, okay, all right. And yes? Well, we're focusing on things that would attract businesses to this area. Yeah. So our schools do attract businesses to this area because our schools are rocking it. So that piece is covered. What else might encourage new business? Okay, all right, moving on to the next. What do you think? It's important to bring new business, but it's just as important, if not more important, to keep the businesses that we have in town here. So what do you think will keep businesses here in Derry? Lower taxes. Yeah, okay. Younger generation? Okay, so we need an influx of the young folk. Apartments. Housing, affordable living. Hear ya? Yeah, definitely. What else? I heard some things. Trade schools, yes. Yep. Yep. I heard some over here, but didn't hear. So, what was said over here that I missed? Anything? Okay. All right. So, all right. Anything else you can think? So, yes. Yes, let's keep business here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So we want to make sure we're maintaining access, maintaining appropriate parking for each of the businesses, and yeah, finding ways to manage snow. Okay. I think it's, well, they're going to be putting a light, so they'll have to widen out at the throat there. I think that I don't think the width will change so much right where you are. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we don't like people backing into the street. I hear you. Yeah. I hope not. I hope not. You're an institution in Derry. Okay. All right. I don't know the exact answer to that question, but I will find out. They will widen it on both ends. Yeah. So we'll take a look. Well, I'll find the answer to that. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Well managed construction. Okay. Yep. Okay. Anything else? Okay. And so what amenities or businesses would you like to see? We already heard Trader Joe's. What amenities would you like to see in this area? Entertainment? Mm-hmm. Yep. Options for entertainment. Okay. Craft store? Okay. Yep. Small local businesses. That is the backbone of America. Keep it coming. Yes. Okay. 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 So Walmart similar but smaller. Okay. Clothing store would be nice. We used to have a clothing store, Country Gentleman. Who remembers Country Gentleman? Or Moody's. I know. You could get every shade of Levi's and Country Gentleman. I loved it. We couldn't afford to shop there, but I did like it. So yeah, I mean, clothing stores, so we don't have to, as you said before, so we don't have to go to Manchester or wherever, you know? Yeah. Okay, good. That's a good one. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah, I think, well, that's, for right now, that's zoned industrial, so I don't think we're going to get Tuscan Village over there. Plus, we don't have enough land to do, to do that. We're talking, for most of this district, we are talking about small redevelopment opportunities. We're not talking about wholesale, let's bulldoze it all down and rebuild so that we get Tuscan, which kind of leads us into the, yeah. Right. So if you had a blank slate, though, like if we did have, that 20 acres or something that was completely blank, and you could envision what that would look like over there, what would you want to see? Market basket? Okay. Small, yep. Yep. Yeah. So like two or three bedroom homes. Yep. Yes. Yeah. So small single family. Okay. Yep. Liz. Okay. Okay. Yes. Arcades or things, for the kids to do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I heard mini golf. We're trampoline park. We're dreaming big, people. Keep it coming. What else? What? Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay. I heard laser tag. Yes. Okay. No more fireworks. Okay. All right. Anything else? Like if you had a blank slate and could have anything, what would it look like? Yes, Richard.
A mom and pop store.
Okay, mom and pop stores, more green space. Mm-hmm. Agri-hood, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Okay, yes. Okay, we're working on improving that. We are working on that. Yep. Okay, working on, she said something a little bit better than Hood Park, but so, yeah. All right. Anything else? I feel bad that I've kept you guys like 15 minutes longer than we did because my bedtime alarm already went off. So anything else? Any other ideas that you have? Okay. Yes, of course.
As was already brought up about the traffic on
Yes.
those streets and options and so forth and so on. I'd just like to know because I want to pursue this.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Jim Goss, lifelong resident, Concord Ave.
Okay. Yeah. Citizen of the Year. Okay, yeah.
Is the planning board the appropriate channel to go through, or is that just going to get passed off onto, oh, well, you got to deal with
Any,
somebody else? I just don't want to hit dead end, no pun intended. I don't want to hit dead end streets. I want to know.
okay, so for the street discussion?
Yes.
All right, so it's a little bit more involved. We're going to take that input. I'm going to mention that input to our DPW director because DPW is working hand in hand with the state on, they're working with the state on the that's wrong how I'm saying that. DPW is very aware of what the state is doing with the design of that road heading down there. So I'm going to pass that input on. I do not know, standing here today, if it's too late to bring that into the program to work on that. But I'm going to bring it up because they're not finished with the design. But I know that I think they would have had to have done the traffic studies to get to this point. So I know that they would have had to have look at traffic implications for that, to put that light at Laconia. So I know that can't be a dead end because they've already agreed that they're going to put a light there. But I will bring it up to our DPW director. And the planning board is not the avenue at this point because the planning board doesn't have any input on the design of 4A. Planning board can focus on the zoning in the area. So it's, yeah, I'll bring it, yeah, and it's really a state thing because it's the state's plan. So, but my way of getting information to the state that's a want and a concern in our community is I'll bring it to DPW first. Okay. They're not, but they terminate on Folsom. So, well, I'm going to start with DPW, but I will tell you that any road that's town owned in Derry is under it falls under the direct jurisdiction of the town council. So they have the final say on a town owned road. It would have to move its way up through the process. Okay. Yes. Yep. Franklin Street is going to have some widenings on it. On the planning board website, I think there are, or the gate. I'll put up what I can of the plans that I have right now. They'll be on the planning board website under Gateway Visioning Information. I'll try and scan those pages so that people can see what the current design looks like. I don't think they've gotten to that piece yet, but they will be. I know that some of the property owners on Franklin Street have already been contacted about their properties. So it may be, yeah. All right, and they may not have either gotten to it yet or it's not going to affect you. Okay, at this point, okay. And see, oh yeah, no, they can't do it without you. They can't do it without contacting you. Okay, yes, sir. They should have more. I thought they had more detailed timelines on that. All right, I'll see what I can do about getting better information. Councilor Webb. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Councilor Webb. For those who couldn't hear, okay, one second. For those who couldn't hear what Councilor Webb said, some of the questions that were raised that I try to fumble my way through have already been answered during the recent town council meetings over the past month or so. So if you haven't had an opportunity, please do feel free to go to DerryCAM.org and take. or the minutes of the town council meetings. You can find both of those sites on the Derry website, and you can, during the town administrator and chair's report, some of those questions have been answered. Also, questions about roads, just so that you know if they're town-owned roads, you can start your inquiries at the Highway Safety Committee meetings as well. Okay, and Mr. Trefethan, you had a question. Yeah, for these meetings, it's for these meetings, because of the type of meeting it is, where it's so interactive with the physical audience, we're just providing a listen only piece for the people who are listening by Zoom. I would encourage, if anyone who is going to be out of town or cannot attend the other two sessions, one will be on February 10th, the other will be February 24th. If you want to contact the planning office, or if you want to email your questions or concerns, anyone who's seen this meeting tonight, we're basically using the same format, so lather, rinse, repeat, but we're going to hopefully gather more information. So these are the questions that we'll be asking. This is the information we'll be presenting. I'll answer some of those questions that I wasn't able to answer at the next one. And so please feel free to get the information to us ahead of time. Even if you send us the information, we don't get a chance to share it during the visioning session, it will be all included in the meeting in April, so that everybody's input, no matter how we received it, will be heard. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.